Delhi government has banned 19 single-use plastic or SUP items in Delhi. To enforce this, the government has decided to issue warning notices to units found violating the ban till July 10th, and after that, punitive action will be taken against the repeat offenders. The action will include a fine of up to 1 lakh rupees or a jail term of up to 5 years or both under the Environment Protection Act 1986. The Delhi Pollution Control Committee, that is DPCC, had earlier issued strict directives to manufacturers, stockists, suppliers, and distributors of SUP items to ensure zero inventory of the banned commodities, including packaging films and plastic cutlery by June 30th. This comes on August 12th last year. The Union Environment Ministry had issued a notification prohibiting the manufacture, import, stocking, distribution, sale, and use of identified SUP commodities, including polystyrene and expanded polystyrene from July 1, 2022. Now this ban has come into effect from Friday, that is July 1 in Delhi. Raut sir, how do you see this step by Delhi government, and more importantly, why this ban?
Well, I think we should be clear that it's not only a state ban, it's a national ban. As you very rightly said, the Ministry of Environment has already notified it quite some time back that from the 1st of July this year, there will be a ban on single-use plastic. Of course, the states like Delhi and all other states have to individually also notify the ban. Not only that, it's very necessary and useful that the urban local bodies also separately notify the ban and enforce it. But let's leave this notification, the ban, for a moment on the side. Let's go to the very origin of the issue. A few months back, some researchers have found microplastics in human blood. Can you imagine? Microplastics in human blood. That shows the seriousness of the problem that encircles us. We as humanity have been breathing, drinking, and eating plastic for a long time. That definitely doesn't tell greatly for the future of the world and for the future of our children. There is, would you believe, I think listeners may be surprised or shocked rather, that an accumulated pile of about 7 billion tons of plastic waste in the world. And to this, 300 million tons of plastic waste gets added every year. You know, we have plenty of ocean. The world is mostly constituted of water. And the total marine waste, out of that, 85% are plastics. And coming back to our country, for example, we add 95 lakh tons of plastic waste a year. We generate that. 40% of that is unattended. As we get urbanized, as we add to our GDP, as the metropolitan centers grow, there has been a growing of the plastic around us as well. And plastic is essentially toxic. I do not know how many of the listeners are used to, or at least have come across situations in which veterinary doctors are working hard on stray cows to pull out bundles of plastic from inside their stomach. What a tragic scene and what a reflection on the way we have conducted our life. Because these stray cows feed on roadside garbage, which has a large amount of plastic in it. And believe me, if we have understood, a large percentage of the plastic is single-use plastic, because these are ordinarily called as disposable plastic. So risking their health and life, these cattle feed on the garbage, which has plenty of plastics inside it. All the landfills, the legendary dump sites of various cities and towns, they do have buried inside this a lot of plastics. Even after the rag pickers pick away some of the plastic, because single-use plastic is seen to be not valuable. It is not recyclable as much as some heavier plastic is. So those are left abandoned. So basically, we are facing a threat from plastic for the environment, for the human life, of course, for the animal life and marine life, and for the future of our children. So this needs to be stopped. India has taken a very right call. Maybe it could have been done before. There have been small, big attempts in the past. But this time, it looks that there is a determination to, as the Prime Minister himself has mentioned many times, to get the plastic out of the way and to start with SUP. That is why the Indian government and also the state governments like Delhi and others have notified the plastic ban, which happened from 1st of July.
Right. You highlighted very important data, sir. And to add to it, I would like to inform our listeners that Delhi generates 1,060 tons of plastic waste per day. And single-use plastic is estimated to be 5.6% or 56 kilogram per metric tons of the total solid waste in the capital. And that is huge. Raut sir, what are going to be the benefit of this ban to the people and to the environment? And how would this ban contribute towards Centre's initiative of Swachh Bharat Mission or Clean India Mission?
It's a very important point because this ban cannot just happen in vacuum. There has to be structures, there has to be mechanism which will make this ban implemented on ground. For example, a quick disappointment for someone like you and me can be that the ban started yesterday and we are not finding too much of a campaign in the marketplaces where plastic is generally used in residential areas, hoardings or campaigns which tell about the giving up of SUP. Okay, there will be penalties, there will be enforcement. I hope this enforcement is strict. I hope people are, if not nudged, at least also to some extent pushed, nudged, and also put in under a legal obligation not to use SUP and to give up SUP. But it will require the campaign of the type of Swachh Bharat Mission because it is essentially to do with behavior change. Because it's not easy. For long, many years, we all have been used to carry our little carry bags, little cups, little plates which are in plastic, the earbud, the Tetra Pak. These have become a part of our life, logistics, transportation, packaging, and everything. So we have to go for a change of behavior. Like the Prime Minister was calling it freedom from SUP and has called for a people's movement against plastic. The Swachh Bharat Mission, the success of it, if we are now in a situation in which we have largely an open defecation-free country, it is because it becomes people's movement. So also, this fight against SUP cannot succeed unless all the 6 lakh villages, all the 4,000 plus towns and cities, particularly the towns and cities, which contribute the maximum to SUP and plastic use, they become sensitive to give it up. And I'll just add one more thing here. The Swachh Bharat Mission Phase 1, as we have seen from 2014 to say roughly end of 2019, was focused on giving people safe access to safe sanitation. Now, in the Phase 2, which is 2021-22 may runs till 25, the idea is to have good amount of solid and liquid waste management. In the context of urban centers, it is a good amount of solid waste management within which the plastic waste management is a big task. That is why in various Swachh Sarvekshan of the Urban Swachh Bharat Mission or Safai Mitra Suraksha Challenge of this, again the Swachh Bharat Mission Urban Phase 2 or the model ODF plus villages in the rural side, the plastic treatment of the plastic, the dealing with the plastic, how it is reused or recycled or reduced, that itself is one of the criteria to judge the efficacy and to judge the efficiency and effectiveness of Swachh Bharat Mission Phase 2. Very rightly, because after the open defecation problem was handled, perhaps the next big thing that we have to handle, particularly in the urban landscape, is solid waste. That is why the big call for garbage-free cities by 25 has been given. When the Prime Minister launched the program on October 1 last year, the Swachh Bharat Mission Urban Phase 2, garbage-free cities was kept as the objective. But this cannot be done unless a very important and a toxic component of that is plastic, is eradicated. And the 1st of July, the ban on SUP is an important step in this direction.
That's right. For the benefit of our listeners, I would like to highlight some of the banned SUP items, and they include earbuds, plastic sticks for balloons, flags, candy sticks, ice cream sticks, polystyrene, that is thermocol, plates, cups, glasses, forks, spoons, knives, straws, trays, wrapping or packaging film around sweet boxes, invitation cards, cigarette packets, plastic or PVC banners of less than 100 microns, and stirrers. These are some of the items which have been banned. I mean, single-use plastic items. So
And
you all,
just
sir.
Just to tell you, it's not going to be comfortable for our 1 billion plus people. So they have to come forward with use of bamboo, cotton, wood, pottery, and any amount of innovation. And any amount of very small amounts of technology which have to come in to provide substitutes. And substitution is not going to be easy because is it available? Good substitute? Or second, is it cost effective? Is it easily and in scale available to the extent it was being used by various shops, retailers, and various suppliers? That is going to be a challenge. But that should not deter us from giving up single-use plastic. We must quickly learn as users, consumers, we must quickly learn how to go into the alternatives. And once we go into it, it's not going to be difficult. It is just a way of living, actually. Once people started using the toilets, for example, in Swachh Bharat Mission plan, then they will not go out. Similarly, once people get used to using alternatives, but in the immediate, there will be a supply-demand situation regarding these alternatives.
You are right. People are dependent on plastic in their day-to-day lives. I mean, in the absence of a viable alternative, it is going to be really difficult for people. But you rightly pointed out that should not deter us. Also, Raut sir, the ban comes into effect when the unemployment rate is high in the country. It is going to affect a large number of manufacturers, distributors, and sellers of SUP items. Many people will find it difficult to make ends meet. What option you feel they have, and what can government do, and what should government do in this regard?
There is a wonderful concept called waste to wealth, which the government has brought into practical effect over the last few years. And plastic waste management becomes a case. Can we have, and it all starts with the homely concept and something which starts at the home or the source called segregation. Unless the waste is segregated at the source, in most cases it is at the homes, like wet waste, dry waste, inside that plastic waste. If these are separated, that is why a huge campaign has been launched under the Swachh Bharat Mission Urban to segregate every waste at the source. Once it is segregated, the wet waste comes and goes for certain types of use. The dry waste goes for certain type of use. Then the recovery and recycling becomes very easy and doable and profitable. So also the plastic, whether it goes to the cement industry or the road construction, there are various uses of it. Perhaps the one which is very easy to litter and easy, it has the least use in terms of recycling and next to put it in the economic cycle is the SUP. That is why the ban on SUP, because any plastic that is reusable and that is recyclable, it is a heavier plastic and those perhaps can stay on for a while longer. But SUP is the immediate nuisance. So coming back to the waste segregation pact, if waste segregation is done properly at the source, then the plastic can be pulled out. Even the dirty mountains, as I call them, in the many cities and towns, the dump sites which have been there for long, some are in fact close to Delhi. That's why they are always discussed. They are eyesores also. So if those are dismantled in a public-private partnership, there could be profit made out of these dirty mountains, which also contain a large amount of plastic. Instead of using non-recyclable plastic in our daily lives and pushing them into waterfronts, into drains, finally into the food cycle, it comes back to our own alimentary canal or goes to the cattle's stomach. This is not the way we have to perpetuate humanity. This is the surest way to make sure that human life is in danger. We have to act in the opposite direction. There could be difficulties, as you mentioned. There could be, yes, some people could be dependent on employment in SUV production, but once you go for a large scale alternative production, in fact, a lot of them could come from cottage industry. Initially, they may be a little more expensive. They may not be cost effective, but once we are a country of startups, if the startups come into this SUP substitution in big way, then there will be ways to find. Then there will be cheaper ways to deliver in large scale alternatives for SUP. That industry will also have employment. So I don't think employment is going to be shut down because of the SUP being banned. The benefits that come from SUP ban is huge compared to certain sectors of work or employment being closed down for that purpose.
Raut sir, you explained in detail about the effects of SUP ban and the way forward. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you very much.